Hi everyone, I'm Wapnick, and you're watching Ergativity Friends. In Chapter 2, Section 1, which you're watching right now, we'll talk about alignment in relation to case marking. But didn't we already discuss this topic, you might ask? Yes, you're absolutely right. However, the treatment of alignment and case marking I'll be giving here will be a bit more in-depth than that given in the previous episode. With all that said, let's get started. In Chapter 1, we made the observation that in some languages, S and A arguments receive the same case, while O arguments receive a different one. Such languages are said to exhibit accusative alignment in their case marking patterns. English is a language that behaves in this manner. Consider the following data. He is sleeping, and he met him yesterday at 3 o'clock. As illustrated by this data, both S and A arguments receive case 1, while O arguments receive case 2. In languages that exhibit accusative alignment with respect to case marking, the case assigned to S and A arguments is usually called nominative, while that assigned to O arguments is called accusative. Using these new terms, we can go back to example 1 and revise our annotations. He becomes the nominative form of the third person masculine singular pronoun, and him becomes the accusative form. Now, there are three types of language with accusative case marking. In languages of the first type, the accusative case is marked, whereas the nominative case is unmarked. This is exactly what we see in Turkish. Consider the data in 2. The president is going to Ankara, and Mehmet will read the letter. Here, we see S and A arguments appear bare, while we see O arguments take one of 4 suffixes. Moving on to languages of the second type, we find overt markers for both the nominative case and the accusative case. In Korean, for example, we see nominative case marked by the suffix i, ka, and accusative case marked by the suffix 을. Finally, in languages of the third type, we find the exact opposite of what we saw in languages of type 1. Instead of the accusative case being marked and the nominative case being unmarked, here it is the nominative case that is marked and the accusative case that has 0 realization. This type is exemplified by the Cushitic language Harar Oromo. Languages of this third kind are often called marked nominative languages, and, as illustrated by this map, are pretty rare. Comrie 2013 identifies 52 languages that exhibit accusative alignment with respect to case marking, but of those 52, only 6 are marked nominative. In the previous episode, we also encountered languages where S and O arguments bear the same case and A arguments bear a different one. Such languages are said to exhibit ergative alignment with respect to case marking. In Hunzib, for example, S and O arguments receive case 1, while A arguments receive case 2. Now, in languages that exhibit ergative alignment with respect to case marking, the case assigned to S and O arguments is called absolutive, while that assigned to A arguments is called ergative. So, going back to the Hunzib data in 5, we can rewrite case 1 is absolutive, and we can rewrite case 2 as ergative. Just as we subdivided the class of languages where case marking follows an accusative pattern, we can also subdivide the class of languages where case marking follows an ergative pattern. In some languages with ergative case marking, we find that ergative case is marked while absolutive case is unmarked. This type is exemplified by the Pamanyungan language, Dyirbal. Consider the data in 6. Here, we see that A arguments take the suffix ngu. S and Do arguments, on the other hand, appear bare. In other languages with ergative case marking, we'll find overt markers for both the absolutive case and the ergative case. Consider Tongan. In 7, we see absolutive case marked by the particle a and ergative case marked by the particle e. At this point, one might ask, are there any marked absolutive languages? That is, are there any languages where the absolutive case is marked while the ergative case is unmarked? The answer to this question, at least as far as I am aware, is no. After carefully examining a sample of 32 languages with ergative case marking, Comrie 2013 found no instances of absolutive case being marked and ergative case being unmarked. A similar conclusion was reached by Dixon in his 1994 book Ergativity. Thus, whereas there were 3 subcategories of languages that exhibit accusative alignment with respect to case marking, there are only 2 subcategories of languages that exhibit ergative alignment with respect to case marking. In addition to languages with accusative case marking and languages with ergative case marking, in Chapter 1 we also noted the existence of languages where case marking follows a neutral pattern. That is, languages where S, A, and O arguments all receive the same case. This is what we observed in Mandarin. In languages that exhibit neutral alignment with respect to case marking, we'll call the case assigned to S, A, and O arguments neutral case. Using this new term, we can go ahead and revise our annotations for the Mandarin data in example 8. So that just about wraps up today's episode. If you enjoyed, please consider liking and subscribing. Please also feel free to share any thoughts, questions, or suggestions for improvement in the comments. Toodaloo!